let you in a secret. I'm not buying less Blu-rays this year. Hi, and welcome to the channel. This is a response video of some sort to some of the ideas and things that are floating about the community at the moment around collecting and creating a physical collection. And I thought I'd drop my insights on what I plan to do over the next year or so and what differences you may see in the channel compared to others. Likes of Elliot, Sam, etc. are talking about curating their collection and buying less and going through their existing collection and rooting out the stuff that they're not going to watch again. And I mean, I just think it's madness. Complete not a madness. Maybe it's the older man in me that is making me do this. And I do appreciate everybody's want to do this because I kind of did something similar in myself when I was that age and regretted it, I have to say. I stripped out a lot of my DVDs and CDs and music releases and put them into carry cases, of which I have numerous lying about on the bottoms of my shelves. So my entire collection behind me used to be TV shows, and as you can see, I don't really have the TV shows in display. They're in a small, my prized possessions of my TV show collection are in a smaller big case that I did keep, but everything else is inside carry cases now. I probably should have got rid of them or otherwise, but I just couldn't bear having put so much time and energy into collecting them to do that. So while I think it's a great and noble thing to do to create the collection, to have this very tight collection of my favourite movies, I'm going to detail a couple of reasons why it's not for me. Number one, I get a lot out of blind buying. I get a lot. In fact, you can see behind me here, you'll see kind of going from here, you'll see some second run, you'll see Criterion for a long part of here, you'll see Indicator, you'll see a lot of that. A lot of these releases I would never have heard of. I would never have picked up. Now, my encouragement for people who are in a similar position is rent. If you want to rent to see these releases before the ban, then certainly do that. That is a very good idea. But for me, I'm in a position where I can afford to have some expendable income, and I do like both the act of buying and buying curated collections that have already been done for me, and also then making my way through and having that library effect. Elliot and Sam both talked about the fact that they don't want the library. I do very clearly want that. That is something that I would like to do. And every time I watch one of those videos, I just can't help but think to myself, I wonder who they're selling them to. It's bad. Number two, I've done this before, as I say. And the second reason is I don't want to make the same mistake that I did when I was maybe 10, 15 years ago. And that is get rid of all the cases, get rid of all of the paraphernalia that came with it in the act of saving space. And there's no doubt space is always an issue. If someday that I ever get through and show you, I'll do a collection tour, you'll see that this isn't just it. There's another one of these on the other side as you go. But like I say, I did this before and I've regretted it. In fact, for many CDs that I have, I only have the CD left. And I always get to the point where I see a CD that I only have the CD left of, and because I've got quite a large collection there of that as well, if I see it for £1, £52, £2, even though I have the CD already, I will rebuy it just to get the case and the artwork, etc. again. So I end up rebuying it, even though I never sold it in the first place. And as such, it's just not something I'm willing to do again. If anything, in the next few years, I will get more space. My kids will move out in 10, 15 years or so, and I will get more space in the house to curate a collection. It does bear some questions and ask some questions around things like, well, what happens to my collection when I'm finished? My daughters haven't really shown an interest in it yet, and I will say that a lot of the curation and collection that I did previously in CDs and video games, etc., was very much with the mind that I want to show them to my kids and kind of go through. But you know, while both my kids are sort of into video games, they haven't really gone outside the realm of what they want to play. They're not as interested in stepping outside that. So maybe that as a reason to collect is not as viable as another one. And number three, I like it. I really like the physical look of it, the consistency of it. My kids actually really like it as well. They like the fact that this is here. It's very pleasant to look at. It is very much an integral part of me as a person. I can't help but collect. I just can't. It doesn't matter what it is. It's something that says you must collect stuff. So if it wasn't this, it would be another thing. And while that might be fine for a lot of people, it's just, I may as well settle on something that I get a lot of joy out of. So actually going forward, what do I plan to do with collection? Well, actually in a similar vein, there are some labels that I don't really intend to collect very much of this year, unless it's a film that I dearly love and it's the only way I'll get that release. So things like Second Sight, I do like Second Sight's releases a lot. I have a number of them up there. But I'd actually made the decision with Dawn of the Dead last year that I would just wait for a standard release of that, because I didn't like the film that much. It wasn't something that I was willing to put that kind of money into, even though it was a great release. I'd wait for the standard release and add it to the collection. And same for most of those. Like, most of the ones that I have are films that I really enjoy. So things like In Bruges, Their World in a Wire was a blind buy. I did not know about that beforehand, but I loved that release. And if I had rented it or watched the movie, I would have bought that as a release, so I don't feel too bad about that. But I have Upgrade up there, which I haven't seen, which I probably will like. In there, a Flight of the Navigator XL, which is a film that I really like, that I've watched with the kids, and they really liked it as well. So I'm probably not going to be that invested in Second Sight releases, especially since they seem to be very much starting off the year on this very much a horror trip of stuff. And I might watch it, but I'm certainly not going to collect it. And the same kind of goes for Arrow a little bit. I will collect the Arrow special editions and their box sets probably. And I'd buy everything Arrow Academy, but the Arrow video line I'm going to pick and choose depending on what I want to see, because we are starting to get into the realm for Arrow Video of films that I really have seen beforehand. A lot of these films, when we get into the 90s, I've seen before, and therefore can pick and choose whether I like them. There's not the discovery element of it there as much going along. I will probably upgrade if there's a thing 4K. That's one of those movies that you just buy again and again and again if a new release comes along. But that'll do. But I'm really going to concentrate on 3 main labels to collect. I'm Indicator complete. I'm going to keep on going with Indicator. I do love their releases a lot. I get a lot out of the discovery and putting that together. And actually the community that is built up around Indicator, it is something that I really enjoy. I've talked about BFI releases in the past year. I've nearly got every single thing that they released last year. I'm only missing a couple at this point, and I have enjoyed everything that they put out for me last year. Very varied in what they put out, and utterly fantastic. And I'll probably collect as many Criterions as I see fit. Although I will say there's the odd Criterion release that I can now knowing a bit more from watching the stuff that I've watched over the past while of kind of directors and work that I probably will not blind buy off the pat. I might watch it first and then decide if I want it. So I'm not committed to buying everything by Criterion, but they are pretty much still the gold standard for me in terms of boutique Blu-ray. So sorry everybody, I'm not curating my collection at all. I'm still buying. I've space left. Maybe that's the difference. I've loads of space left. At the moment I decided to put another unit up last year, and God, I can't have empty space. Well, at least for another 2 years or so. We'll keep on and filling it up, and I'll collect as we go. It might come a point where I decide let's cut back on some of these. There's just the reason that there's many films that I watched, didn't like, and rewatched and liked again, for me to take the chance of, right, well, we'll get rid of that and buy it and rebuy it, because often some of these things are very expensive to rebuy, especially things like originate Criterions. They can be very hit and miss. You can pay on the price for them, you can overpay if you wanted to get them again, and I'm the type of person that would overpay if I really wanted it at that moment. It's just the collector's mentality in me. So that's me. Unpopular opinion at the moment, it seems, but here I am. If you made it this far, let me know what you think about collecting yourself in the comments. And like I say, main hobby and all that kind of stuff, watching movies, love it. If you're going to do something else, no judge. I'm very much looking forward to watching Elliot and Sam curate their collection on a weekly basis. I actually can't wait for that. It makes for very interesting watching. And if you haven't checked out either of their 2 original videos, I'll link the 2 of them both down in the description, on the off chance that you've stumbled into mine and not into theirs. Don't know how that would happen, but there you go. Alright, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.